It is deadline day in the National Football League, and the Commanders are already getting busy. Welcome into the Commanders Report, where we have breaking news action for your Washington Commanders. After months of speculation, trade speculation surrounding both Chase Young and Montez Sweat, we finally have a deal done. Montez Sweat is on his way to the Chicago Bears in exchange for a 2024 second-round pick. I'm going to break down the trade details here and what this means for the Commanders franchise moving forward. But before we go into that and we dive into the nitty-gritty here, this is exactly why you subscribe to the Commanders Report for free here on YouTube. We have you guys covered with breaking news coverage every time the Commanders make a big move. So, they might not be done for the rest of the day now. They might make another move by the end of the day. So if that happens, make sure you click that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss any big news surrounding the Washington Commanders. So now this trade is official now. Montez Sweat, edge rusher for the Washington Commanders, or at least formerly with the Commanders, is now heading to the Chicago Bears in exchange for a 2024 second-round pick. And it was actually Chase Young that was connected to the Chicago Bears in recent days. Montez Sweat was more linked towards the Atlanta Falcons, but it appears that Washington is going to try to keep Chase Young on their roster moving forward, and Montez Sweat was the guy that they wanted to unload. Here with the Chicago Bears, their record is not looking too good. They just got ramrodded by the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football here in Week 8. That second-round pick is actually going to be pretty darn valuable. We're going to be breaking that down here in just a second. But first, I want to hear your guys' reaction to this trade. What is your one-word reaction to this trade of Montez Sweat to the Windy City? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So here's what's going to happen. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. And for me, my one word is going to be intriguing. Like I said, with that second-round pick, it could be extremely valuable moving forward. That could be like the 33rd, 34th, 35th pick in next year's NFL draft. That's another day one starter if you are the Washington Commanders heading into next season. You avoid the potential pickle that you would have had to potentially pay both Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And although I'm really sad to see Montez Sweat go, I have been the advocate here on YouTube to be like, I want the Commanders to find a way to pay both of these guys. Both Sweat and Chase Young are excellent players, in my opinion. They're both playing really well. I would have liked to see both of them stay on this team, but that second-round pick from Chicago is definitely an interesting trade asset to acquire here. Not only are you going to have your first-round pick, but then you're going to have probably not only 2 second-round picks now as well, but you're going to have an early one at the top of the second round. That really sets you up, if you're the Commanders, to have a very successful draft class in 2024 and really supplement this roster with some big-time talent, hopefully on the offensive line next offseason. So I think this is a really good move by the Commanders. If it were me, I would have tried to not get rid of Montez Sweat or Chase Young. I would have tried to make something work. But if a trade had to happen, and it's definitely looking like the front office was definitely forcing Ron Rivera's hand here, it's nice to know that you got a really nice trade asset here in that high second-round pick in exchange for Montez Sweat, who is a really good edge rusher in this league. Now, coming up here, I got another big takeaway that I want to share with you guys about this trade. But before I get into that, let's talk about today's sponsor at Prize Picks. And let me tell you, man, ever since we started partnering with Prize Picks here at Chat Sports, and I've been using the app, I have been absolutely addicted. And if you're looking for a way to spice up your game days this NFL season, get started with Prize Picks today. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're wondering, how does daily fantasy work? Well, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. All you got to do is they have projections on the Prize Picks app. You go more or less. You pick 2 to 6 players, and then you can win up to 25 times your money. It really is that easy, and it's super addictive. I love using it. You could do it right now. Check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. At Prize Picks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available on the Prize Picks app, instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, that are just looking to take advantage of you. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. So the other takeaway that I have from this trade is now that Montez Sweat is shipped elsewhere, I think that means the Commanders are ready to commit long-term to Chase Young. I think an extension will end up happening here for Chase Young, who has really been a nice piece for them this year. Yes, Montez Sweat had more tackles than Chase Young so far this year. He had more tackles for loss. He's the better run defender overall. But it seems like the Commanders are really valuing Chase Young's pass rushing upside. He's top 5 in the NFL right now in pressures, and he's really getting the job done. 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. This guy has all the upside that comes with being the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft back in 2020. And I'm really happy that the Commanders, I've said it on the show, if you're going to have to trade one of these guys, I would rather it be Montez Sweat. Invest in the pass rushing upside there in Chase Young. I think he's an excellent player, and I think he's going to be the number 1 edge rusher here in Washington for years to come. And another good thing for this situation for Washington is that they have very good depth at the edge rusher position, in my opinion. Casey Tuhill and James Smith-Williams are both capable starters in this league, in my opinion. Having those two as rotational guys was really an elite asset. Plus, you drafted KJ Henry out of Clemson in the draft this year. So, yes, you're going to miss Montez Sweat a little bit here, but overall, this is still a really good defensive line. You still got 3 first-rounders here. It's going to be interesting to see who gets more snaps, Casey Tuhill or James Smith-Williams moving forward. Smith-Williams does have more snaps overall, but Tuhill is the higher grader right now on Pro Football Focus. So I'm definitely interested to see which of those two is going to end up playing more moving forward. But you still got Daron Payne. You still got Jonathan Allen locked up to long-term contracts. I think Chase Young is probably going to get locked up as well, if not get franchise tagged this offseason. So I'm really excited for the future of this Commanders team. You're going to have a first-round pick. You're probably going to have an early second-round pick, and then you're going to have another second-round pick coming up here in next year's draft, which really allows you to do some things and supplement this roster. So will the Commanders make another move after this one? I mean, we knew that the Commanders are probably going to trade one of their defensive linemen. That trade has already happened. So is this going to be the only move that the Commanders end up making today? I would argue maybe not. Jacoby Brissett, the Washington Commanders' backup quarterback, is drawing interest around the league, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting traded by the deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern time this afternoon. A couple of teams that are reportedly interested in Brissett's services. The Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins is out for the season with an Achilles tear. Right now they got Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall as their potential options at quarterback. It seems like they're going to want to make a move before the deadline today. And then the Cleveland Browns. There's lots of Cleveland fans on Twitter right now clamoring for the Browns to get Jacoby Brissett back. He was really successful in that offense last year. Deshaun Watson has been dealing with injuries, hasn't been all that great. And there's definitely a faction of Browns fans that definitely want to see Jacoby Brissett return to Cleveland. If you could get a 4th-round pick for Jacoby Brissett, I am taking that every single day if I'm the Washington Commanders front office. Now, let's go back to the Montez Sweat trade here. You gave me your one-word reaction for the pinned comment today, but now grade the trade for me down there in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. For me personally, I'm going to give this, it's hard to know because we don't know where that draft pick is going to be right now. We don't know what player the Commanders are going to get with that draft pick, so you can't really grade this until all these things come to fruition. But for right now, I'm going to give this an A-. I actually think that this is a pretty darn good deal for the Washington Commanders. If you were going to trade one of these guys, I would have wanted to trade Montez Sweat, and I would have wanted to get a first-round pick or a high second-round pick. The Commanders ended up getting that job done today, so I'll give them an A- for now. That'll be it for today's show. Again, if the Commanders make another trade, Jacoby Brissett gets sent to the Vikings or the Browns today, we're going to have another video for you guys right here on the Commanders Report. So make sure you click that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss any big moves surrounding your Washington Commanders.